Well, I can start by saying, first of all, okay, our weight loss program is muscle centric, right? So muscle mass preservation, body fat targeting. That's what we want to do.
Everyone, welcome back to another episode of Weight Count. I'm your host, Michelle Latocha, and today I have the ladies from Fonthealth, Jenny and Camila. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
This is so exciting. Now that I have you guys sitting side by side, I'm like, oh my God, we could be like twins.
Yeah, that's why I went blonde.
Do people, I have a sister that has blonde too, and she's always like, I want to look different.
It tricked me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would trick me, but.
Do people think that you guys are twins?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to tell them that I'm the cool young one.
I'll call her husband and like for the first few seconds, just pretend I'm her and he will buy it.
Oh my
gosh. And then he catches on because I don't call him babe.
That's a bit too far. That's a little weird.
Too far. Awesome. Okay. I've been super excited for this conversation because women's health needs like, hello, put us on a pedestal. Okay. Mm-hmm. From the moment I met you and Allie, okay, I was like, okay, you guys are so cool. And everyone that I know, I've been like, you got to see these girls. I just feel like you guys have hit it on the nail with women and all the symptoms that we're experiencing. I'm going to just like push it out of the gate. What brings women into your door?
You know what? Okay, so a big piece of what we love to do is health optimization. But what does that mean? Nobody really Googles that. Yeah. So weight loss seems to target the most amount of people from all walks of life. But then when they come in, then we teach them about what we actually want to do and what thriving looks like and what optimization actually looks like. So weight loss is a huge piece of what we do, medical weight loss, hormone balancing, because women come in like sweating.
In tears, honestly. They'll cry at the front desk.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Crying. Yeah. Like you guys do hormone. Like I need help. I can't live like this. Like something's wrong. Nobody's listening to me. I keep being told I'm crazy.
You're my last stop. I hear that every day. Yeah. Please, you're my last resort.
Do you feel like, I don't know, women are more aware now with like social media and more education? Because like, if I talk to my mom, right, she's like in her 70s. I was like, oh, it's okay. You're going to go through this. Like, I feel like Western medicine, traditional doctors maybe don't understand what's happening to women. And therefore it's like a blanket approach, right? Do you feel that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So social media has been really good at helping women find validation in other women. And you get to Google your symptoms and see you're not going crazy. But at the same time, the dark side is that there's a lot of predatory stuff out there and there's women buying all kinds of things they don't need at all. Basic answer is you need the hormones. It is hormonal most of the time. And then most family docs or even OBGYNs, the training just isn't there. And it's a long story, but it's linked to a study that was very misleading back in 2002. So there's just this gap of like, oh, well, this is how it is now. Your blood work's fine. And then they get sent off.
How did you two decide to open up this clinic?
You know what, honestly, so we initially started in aesthetics. It was, Jenny being a nurse practitioner, I'm a nurse. We're like, well, this is kind of like the space people are kind of going. We wanted to work with women in general. Yeah. Like it's female empowerment has always sort of been the vibe. It's just, you start in aesthetics, but then women tell you like, okay, but I can't seem to lose weight or like my hormones. And then the story just kept repeating over and over. And we're like, well, we can actually do something. So we Jenny being very, total bookworm, but very investigative. Like she just kind of nose dove into this research to figure out
how to help them. Because you keep hearing the same thing. You're like, okay, I'm sorry. And then I would find people to refer them to and like it wasn't helpful and they would come back with the same concerns. It started actually in primary care when I worked in family medicine and I would see literally women with like super like dry vaginas and PAPs were excruciating. And I was like, oh, this is like terrible. And then you don't really know how to help them, but they tell you like, anyway, so it was like just not ignoring them. Like they're asking you, can you help me? And at some point it's like, okay, I don't know yet, but I think I can find out. And then that was like 4 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, it really shifted our business to be very more like hormonal focused.
what I will say is weight loss is sort of where we started. It was really like, okay, so we have weight concerns. Let's start with some medication. Let's see how that works. And then people would kind of come back because Jenny was the main provider. So people would come back a few months later and sometimes they were doing good. Sometimes they were plateauing. Sometimes it wasn't working or they were getting sick. And it was like, so what is happening? How do we do more than what your family doctor can do? And so then we started building a team and we started trying everything under the sun to make sure that we are giving the right tools. Like we have programs in the clinic that have been probably remodeled a million times over because it's what is actually helping. The whole point is evidence-based. Like, is this going to work? I don't want to waste your time. And so we started in weight loss, but then weight loss is so complex. So then you have to add the hormones, you have to add the tool, you have to add the lifestyle stuff because that's what people are looking for.
That's what I love about your clinic is that it's not a cookie cutter approach, right? Like you said, you are trying to advocate for them and listen to them. Like the biggest thing I think that you guys do is listen. And I feel like that's failing at other practitioners, right? Like no one's listening, right? And I've shared my journey with you guys. I mean, I've been saying the same symptoms over and over and over. And it's like, you're fine. You're fine. Your labs are great. Your labs are great. And it's like, honestly, it's like a trigger when someone says your labs are great, even though you don't want them to be bad. You're just like, okay, so what's the problem? Right? That's not going to help me anymore if you tell me like, oh, it's just part of life. I do want to open up a bigger can of worms. GLP-1s. Please, let's debunk, okay, what's going on, all right? Me being, in the fitness industry, 25 years, there's just like this big stigma around it. And, I feel like a few years back, people started using them and it's like, oh my gosh, when you find out someone using them, like, oh my God, they used it. But then like, no one really knows the proper research behind it. And I want you guys to kind of like, in general, what else does it help with other than weight loss?
Well, I can start by saying, first of all, okay, our weight loss program is muscle centric, right? So muscle mass preservation, body fat targeting. That's what we want to do. And when it comes to GLP-1s, they actually do that. The big myth and the big fear is that I'm going to get a Ozempic phase. I'm going to get everything's going to get saggy.
Yes, I didn't want to say it, but that's what I meant.
Right. So all the things are going to, and then you're going to regain the weight or you're going to be really sick. And I can tell you that that's not what we see in the clinic. That's in fact not what happens. And what the studies are showing, and we can see literally every day because we test this, is that your muscle can build. It actually helps you build muscle. It's an anti-inflammatory. It works. I mean, there's a lot more research into your heart health, your brain health. Like there's so many benefits. And when we see people on it, it's not, we hear it all the time. It's not, I'm losing weight, I feel like it's working. It's, I feel in control of my life. Yeah. There's so many things around your relationship with food, different habits, different things that you like drinking when you're on the medication. You just don't want to. Like we hear that often.
Alcohol.
Drinking alcohol. Yeah, drink water. Yeah. But the alcohol piece, or we hear people.
Please hydrate yourself.
Don't drink water. Yeah. But yeah, like alcohol intake, smoking, shopping. We hear a lot. People just don't seem to do as much retail therapy. There's a lot of kind of
behavioral
changes that people don't feel like they're restricting into this kind of new version of them that they're building.
Do you feel like it's like targeting a part of your brain?
It absolutely is.
Okay, like the nerd in me is like, might be having a response.
So to the person consciously will feel like reduced appetite. You think about food less, you get fuller faster. But the brain behind the scenes, you're actually able to lower your weight and the brain doesn't freak out because your brain is always going to want to put the weight back on. So that's where the medication really shines because it kind of quiets that down. And then the motivational kind of seeking behaviors that we all have in the brain. So like more, 1 cookie, 2 cookies, 3 cookies, or like
impulse behavior.
Chop. Yeah, that is quieted also, which you can't control that consciously, which is why it's like, yes, diet and exercise are great tools, but medications can do something you literally physically cannot. No matter how hard you try, they actually like hack the brain. It's so cool.
It's made, yeah.
And what are like the results like? Like so how do you phase off the medication? Because I know women are going to ask this question of like, all right, like how long roughly do I have to be on it? And then when I come off of it, then what?
That's actually a great question. Literally, I think the very first question that people either call on the phone or first thing when they meet one of us is basically, when can I stop? And like, I don't want to have to be on it for life. And am I going to regain? So a big piece of what we do around the lifestyle is helping people learn to use it, even if it's as a temporary tool. For some people, it can be lifelong, but for most people, it's actually not. At least the clients that are coming to the clinic, you're using it to kind of get the brain, the gut sort of balance and getting the right messages. And in the meantime,
body recomposition
goes a long way. So in the meantime, that's exactly what we're doing. We're building muscle, because your muscle's what burns fat. Your muscle's what burns calories at rest. We're nourishing the right kind of tissue that's going to do all the good stuff so for example, something that we'll say to people is, your hunger is going to be significantly reduced. So if, you're probably going to only be able to have these small pockets of hunger in the day, let's prioritize. Let's prioritize your proteins and your whole foods, get your fiber in, hydrate. If you have room, have the sweets. It's not restrictive. But when you prioritize, you're nourishing the right type of tissue.
True.
So you get off the medication later on, and now you've sort of reset. And we know it happens too, because people start saying things around like I'm craving salads. I'm craving different things that I didn't used to before. And it's literally because you're reprogrammed, and like your body's asking for what it wants. Honestly, our food industry is so disruptive to
the health claims.
Yes. But even the chemicals to like make it addictive.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So then you get people away from that food more and more and more over time. Then the body's actually able to tell you what it needs and what it wants, and you give it, and your body's happy, and then your mood is better and your sleep is better.
I think this is a controversial topic, but more and more now, especially in America, we see obese children. And I think you hit it on the nail. I think it's the food that we are giving them, maybe laced with additives, and it's reprogramming their brain. Let's just say like I was a little bit overweight as a child, right? And when is the earliest? Like, we know children are suffering. I'm not saying put them on weight loss medication, but what is the earliest if you see, a teen struggling with their weight, and it's like, okay, like obesity is more unhealthy than maybe with a health and weight management program. What is like the youngest? Because I have seen children at 15 severely overweight.
Yeah. So we have on-label approval for starting at the age of 12.
Okay.
But when we get young people, and it's really a team approach, because yes, you can throw medications at a teenager, but they need to talk to a psychotherapist. There's more going on. Oftentimes we'll find undiagnosed and unmanaged ADHD. So they have like kind of impulsive behavior, especially with like binge eating and just like they eat everything in sight. So that has to be addressed. And then the family has to get on board, because depending on the age, the kids don't actually get to pick what they eat if they're young enough. So like the parents have to be on board. So it's a lot more, I would say, involved when they're younger. But you're right. The food, I say in quotation marks, is literally engineered to be addictive and overconsumed. And that is what's accessible, what's marketed, what's cheap, and like what's in your face every day. So that's what we're up against, and that's why obesity is a problem. The food, the way it looks today, is not how it looked for a long time. It's just so different now.
I read something somewhere that in 5 years, everyone's going to be needing a GLP-1 because of where our food has come. And how we as a society cannot simply, like Jenny said, control it on our own. Like, we need to reprogram our brain, and everyone's going to need this. And I was like, wow.
I mean, that's scary to think, because
it is.
I mean, as much as we love using the medication for the tool that it is, most people don't actually nobody really wants lifelong medication. That's not really what people are looking for. And I mean, it is controversial. I think here's where our clinic may be a little bit different than your traditional, because prevention is key, and education is so important.
Love that. Yeah.
And I mean, the way our healthcare system is set up, I mean, the amount of times that people come into the clinic and they're just on the cusp of not quite sick enough in their blood work so they don't get covered for medication.
Oh gosh. It's a moving target, coverage for medication. Oh no. They now are wanting a higher BMI. Oh, they don't have hypertension or sleep apnea or high cholesterol.
Right, like, where's our prevention?
They don't get covered.
Prevention does not exist.
Like all those things. Oh, you want them to be sicker. Oh,
sick care. Not healthcare, sick care.
It's sick care. So what's different in the clinic is that we're getting people coming in saying, I'm on the cusp. I don't want to get there.
Sad.
I see my parents. I see how things are. I don't want that to be me.
Wow.
How do I? And so a lot of the time it's an investment in their health, so they don't have to spending on their sick care later. It truly does come down to that.
Yeah.
But we deeply believe, so a lot of the time we get women postpartum, like it's weight that you can't, it's hard hormonally to get back into no matter what
Preach.
you're doing. Yeah. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
And literally tried all the things, and the calorie diet, like you're just trying to just not eat, hoping that and that's not the answer. And, you know, for a lot of women, it's in this stage that you kind of, you know, now you have a kid, now you're busy, your hormones aren't really working with you, and it compounds, and then you get them now in their 40s and 50s, and now they have all these problems. But why can't we sort of get the
Address it earlier.
it earlier? And that's what people are asking for. So that's what we like to do.
And talking about hormones, you know, when someone comes to see you, like there's some talk about like hormone panel. What does that entail?
So your main hormones are going to be, when people think of hormones, it's related to women: estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. Mm-hmm. If you're still having periods, checking them is basically finding a moving target. I check them because every now and then I'll catch a one-off, or honestly, it just makes the woman feel like I did something for them that they were otherwise denied. But it really makes a difference when you check it post-menopause, when your ovaries are no longer making hormones and you have your hormones on board, and then we get to see the levels. Having said that, there is something I do check in the shift, like in the perimenopause stage, which is testosterone, just because there's guidelines around how high you can go. Mm-hmm. And we ideally don't go over that because you get symptoms, you know, negative side effects. But yeah, so yeah, you can check that. You can check a bunch of other stuff, but yeah, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and thyroid is something that women
And how early would you advise hormone replacement therapy?
Women know they have symptoms and they don't feel like themselves. They can't always kind of pinpoint it, but they're like, something's off. Mm-hmm. So I have women even early 30s that actually do really great on just like something like progesterone. But statistically, like 35 and over, if you're feeling changes, you can start to get checked.
I fall in that category, so thank you very much. And I experience all those symptoms and all that thought process of like, what's wrong with me? I had my third kid, same thing. I was like, what worked for me before is not working for me. And I've been in the fitness industry for 25 years. And that's when you know, you're like, okay, something is not working and I can't fix it on my own. Another hot topic that I want to talk about is libido, right? I was going to say I read this book, but I did not read this book. I should read this book, but I don't think there's much reading in this book, but it was a book called 365 Days of Sex. And there was a study done towards your overall health. And they took a few couples and they documented their journey 365 days of the year. And every day they had intercourse. And at the end, their health like improved in every aspect. Mm-hmm. Cardiovascular, cholesterol, mindset, hormones. And I'm like, oh my God, I think that's the fountain of youth. That's what they're calling it.
Oh my God.
I know. It's a book. I got to find it. Like I said, I don't think there's much reading in it, but is this kind of like a stigma attached to this? Like, do you feel like women don't come to you and they're like, don't want to talk about it?
I think they don't want to talk to their family doctors about it, but I always ask.
Okay.
Because first I want to know, does sex hurt? Yeah. Which I don't think a lot of family docs would ask you. If you mentally want to be with your partner, physically have the energy, but sex is painful, which is actually very common. Yeah. And literally the word I hear time and time again is razor blades. Yeah. Like, of course, that's going to impact your libido. Some women actually stop having sex.
65 days. Oh my God.
Yeah, sex altogether.
Razor blades for a year? I don't know.
Yeah, well, obviously they didn't have vaginal dryness.
Obviously they wouldn't have. Yeah.
But anyways, I do ask the questions. And I always explain libido is complicated. You have to think about, is your partner being good to you? Because you get to a stage of life where women carry the burden of the job plus the kids plus the household, like the emotional
And
labor.
you're just like drained.
Yeah, and you're like, of course you don't have sex with your husband if your husband's, sorry to say, a dud. Yeah. I feel very strongly about that. Anyways, but if your husband's lovely and doing all the things, does sex hurt? Or no, it doesn't hurt. Okay, so like mentally, do you want to have sex with your partner? And if they're like, I want to, but like I just don't actually feel, like women will say, I literally don't feel anything down there. Like if you touch me down there, it feels a little different than my arm. So then we talk about testosterone. Yeah. Testosterone goes a long way in these cases. It literally brings blood flow to the tissues and stuff to the brain so that sex becomes interesting again.
You educated me on testosterone. And there's, multiple studies going around in books, but like the benefits of testosterone. I'm one of those people that like when, a health professional says something to me, I go down a rabbit hole and like try to learn everything about it because I'm just like, oh my God, I want to learn that. And testosterone seems to be like a secret sauce.
Ooh, yeah.
Right?
For men too, but
for men too.
Yeah.
But like even for brain health. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like when has it ever been like communicated to you about that? Like at your doctor's office?
Oh, never.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't have been. And it's sometimes it's funny. We bring it up to patients like, hey, maybe this might be something that might come down the pipes. And they're looking at you like,
what?
Testosterone for women? I don't.
Because they're thinking bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm going to become a bodybuilder, right?
Yeah, that's the stigma is unfortunately it's been abused by bodybuilding in sports. But testosterone is something that we've all made all along, different levels for men and women. I tell my patients, yes, because they'll say, oh my God, am I going to turn into a man? And I say, disclaimer, the medication is the same stuff we would give to somebody that's transitioning to the other gender, but the doses are entirely different.
Yeah. So that's where microdosing comes in,
Yeah,
right?
like just smaller doses
dosing
to help you. And then every patient's a little bit different. We watch the blood work, we watch the symptoms. It's cookie cutter testosterone for women like it would be for men because there's a lot more data.
Is it common that a lot of women are lacking testosterone? Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I'm just going to go back to a point that Jenny was saying earlier about, sometimes checking the blood work isn't always so, like, especially premenopause, how indicative as to what we're going to do. So what she's going to do, it's more so that, the symptoms are the answer. The blood work ranges are huge. So you're going to be told your blood work's fine, but you're like, but I feel this way.
Yeah.
So that's where the customization really happens in that let's get you feeling like you and with a superpower. Not really just basing it off. Like, there's parameters for safety, but there's also kind of
you're not
treating
your blood
the
work.
person.
It's a piece of the puzzle. That's
it's
all.
only a piece. Yeah.
I feel like we could just have like a weekly conversation over women's health, right? Like, don't you feel that there's so much to cover?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right? Yeah. Let's talk about the other elephant in the room, injections. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, we can talk about injections.
Needles.
Now, do women come to you with their idea of what an injection should look like or enhancements, and then you kind of guide them, or how does that work?
Like in medical aesthetics?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, not the
Not testosterone injections.
Not testosterone.
Because we do those too.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
I know you do those too.
Yeah. Honestly, when it comes to aesthetics, okay, I'll just say it because I'm sure this is going to resonate. The amount of times that I hear people say, I turned 40 and then everything changed. Okay.
Bingo.
All the time, right? You start seeing it in your skin. I mean, obviously your body hormones, all the things start to change.
Softer.
The dryness, the... What's that?
Softer skin.
Yeah.
Collagen, less collagen.
Oh, that, yeah. Sensitive skin, dehydrated skin. Like there's all these things that sort of come up. And then now there's a big conversation around, well, what do you want to do? Like what, because not everybody cares about having some smile lines. Like that's natural, that's nice. It's more like a big one I hear and I love, and this is what we get to with skincare is I just don't want to wear makeup. I want to be able to come like wake up, do my skincare routine and walk out without makeup. And like, that's a great goal. It's not, I don't want to look 20 again. Like I'm in my 50s. I'm not looking to look 20. I want to just look refreshed and awake. And I don't want people to notice. That's a big one. Right. So yes, if we're going to talk about injectables like filler and Botox or Sculptra, the biostim, like the getting collagen production kind of working again.
Speaking the language,
right?
Yes.
Like we want all those good things. We just want to do it gradual. We want to work through like a treatment plan that's going to make you happy, right? But I think most people don't want to come in and get like 10 syringes of filler to be totally different. Like that's not the way we do things anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Natural.
People want natural. People don't want you to know. Like you just want, even if you want to tell people that you're doing it, you want somebody to say to you like, "Oh, really? I would have never guessed."
It's kind of like that Italian family. Just put it under the rug. Just don't tell anybody.
Just
Once you got it done. You know what I mean? Okay, I feel you. Like because I think that you're right. Over the years, like it's gone extreme, and then I think it's getting down. You know, what I mean, when it first came out, it's like, oh wow, your lips. Okay, I see you now. And it's like, oh my god, okay, are those gonna go down? Like I'm not sure. And like water's dribbling down them. I'm like, I'm not sure if that was the right amount for you. But now, right, like it's just natural looking. I did see on one of your videos that you were putting sunscreen on your face. I'm sorry, I was in the era of baby oil. Okay, I'm sorry. Like I was like, oh, baby oil. Okay, when you go to the beach. But I saw that you put sunscreen on cloudy days, and I honestly, I get that now, but like I did not understand that. Like I'm actually telling you the era that I was raised in, I didn't think that was needed. Like I was like, oh, no sun, so no sunscreen. Talk to us about sunscreen and skin health. I know, and I saw you doing it all over your face, and I'm like, oh wow, she's like massaging like a facial.
In there. You know what? Nothing ages your skin like the sun. Really? And I know we want vitamin D, but there's a way to protect and expose, right?
Okay, tell me.
And there's a lot of really good sunscreens out there. Mm-hmm. The one that we carry in the clinic is a physical barrier. Just do a little health teaching around sunscreen because, I mean, there's a lot of misinformation, but a physical barrier sunscreen is probably the best you're going to get. And it's where you're putting it on the skin and it's literally a block that's going to bounce the rays off. It's not letting anything penetrate. There's chemical sunscreens that will let the ray in, kind of break it down and,
Yeah.
And, when you're doing treatments like chemical peels or really intense like retinol treatments and different exfoliators, you actually don't want that because now you're having the heat sort of sit in the skin before release. So the physical barrier is actually the best way to go. Huh. Now our sunscreen's awesome. I actually brought you one today. Oh. I brought you one today because I want you to try it. And I want you to
# gifted.
Gifted with, oh my God, just wait. You're going to fall in love. And because there's something to be said about good sunscreen that doesn't smell like sunscreen actually. Yeah. That fits with your skin, like sits nice with your makeup, and it doesn't feel like a chore. Like you actually want to put it on. Okay. So there's a lot of that too. Like that's out there. I think a lot of people don't even realize how like fancy they can get with just
and we don't know. We don't know. That's why it's always good to go to a professional. That's the thing. Like, I mean, if you need to go somewhere like to a drugstore and get sunscreen, okay, I think whatever you can do, but like, let's not.
You know how many times I see people coming in with their skincare routine from like Sephora or something, and it's so expensive, and it's not like there's not necessarily a lot of data behind. Like it's the brand, it's not the quality.
Right? It doesn't mean
it's not the price. It's not the price that makes it good. That's a big misconception too. Like you think you're paying more for better. It's not always the case.
Okay, we're gonna talk about some myths. Okay, Mythbusters. I love this. Okay, because I feel like there's so much misconception around GLP-1s, hormones, sunscreen, just hormone and women's health in general that I feel like let's debunk them. Okay?
Okay.
So this one's for Jenny. Hormone imbalance only happens during menopause.
False. Myth.
Mm-hmm. Myth again.
Okay. Question. If you get your period early on in life, does that mean that you'll hit menopause early or no?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Mm-hmm. Okay. I got mine in grade 4. Like, talk about early, right? Weight gain is just about calories in, calories out.
Oh my God, myth. Can I just tell you the amount of times that women come in the clinic, they're like, I'm working out 5 days a week. I'm on a 700 calorie diet a day. Like I'm trying to eat very little. I actually had somebody tell me, and I've heard this story a few times. I had my husband do the same diet that I was doing.
And he lost weight.
Work. He's down 30 pounds and I'm up weight.
Why is that?
I don't know. Why?
Men don't have the fluctuations women do. They just don't. They're decline, and they do. Their testosterone declines also. It's just, generally pretty smooth over time. For us,
we're raging.
Yeah.
Okay. Jenny, if you're on a hormone therapy or weight loss, if you're on hormone therapy, weight loss should be instant.
No, but you'd be surprised how women react to being on something like estrogen, testosterone in a body composition shift.
Ooh.
Like we do start to see body fat reduction, muscle mass maybe starts to creep up just from hormones.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jenny, again, only older women need to worry about hormone levels.
No, all of us. Yeah. We all have made hormones the whole time, varying amounts depending on the age. But no, we all worry.
Add on to this question.
Yeah.
What if you haven't had children?
If you haven't had children?
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Your ovaries are going to shut down over time.
Okay.
Average age is 51, but those changes and that gradual shift, which can feel erratic, doesn't matter. It Doesn't matter if you haven't or haven't had kids.
Okay, wow. I didn't know that. Yeah. Hormone therapy is dangerous and can cause disease.
So the big one is breast cancer. Mm-hmm. It is hugely overstated. It's not true. Again, back to that study that misled a lot of people. I always say to my patients, listen, the chances of you getting a breast cancer from estrogen specifically are maybe 1 in 1,000. And even then, you're going to survive. And there's so many treatments available. What's your alcohol intake? Because the chance of getting a breast cancer with that is 16%. So if you're scared about breast cancer, please watch your alcohol intake. Hormones are not foreign to you. You've made them all along. There's a OBGYN I like, Dr. Jen Gunter, and she talks about like, why do we scare women out of like their own hormones? We don't tell men,
so true.
Oh, testosterone's so scary. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's your own stuff. We're just adding it back in.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Camila, you can out-exercise a hormone imbalance.
No, you cannot. You actually cannot. Trust me, women try a lot.
Okay. Weight loss medications are a lazy shortcut.
Oh my God.
Honestly, like in the fitness industry, like that's actually a real thing. People think that.
People think that it's
cheated.
That you're on your way. The amount of times that we say to people, like, you have to do the work. It's just a lot of the time.
I think they understand. Yeah.
They're doing the work. It's just not working. Yeah. And then you get the GLP-1 on board, and then your body aligns with everything you're putting into it. It's never from lack of trying. I would say 95% of the people that come through our doors have literally tried everything. It's not from lack of trying, and it's not from lack. Like, it's not
just another tool in your toolbox.
It's just another tool.
A really good one.
I'm not going to swear, but I'm going to give you this meme that has sat with me forever. You don't need shoes to run, but it helps.
Ooh, I like that.
You like that. But it helps.
I love that. Okay. Yeah. Bioidentical hormones are the same as synthetic ones.
No, but both can be covered by benefits. So big misconception about that things have to be fancy and compounded. That's not usually the case. Bioidentical just means the molecular structure is the same as your body makes it. Mm-hmm. Synthetic is just a little bit different.
Okay.
And we prefer bioidentical.
And if your blood work is normal, your hormones are fine.
Nope. No, listen to the woman.
Right?
They know what normal is for them. The blood work is just a snapshot in time.
Okay. And last one, low libido is just part of getting older. Deal with it.
No. I actually want to say this earlier. So physical health, mental health, sexual health is part of your whole person.
Yeah.
And there is like stigma around it. People don't talk about it, but they should. Good sex makes everyone happy with your partner. It shouldn't hurt. You should want to do it. It should be quite enjoyable. Orgasming is important for women and men.
Yeah.
So yes, it's part of your overall health.
I love this. I love this for us. I think we're going to start a series. Okay, Women's Health Coffee with the girls. All right, what's next for Fonthealth? Any new gadgets coming in the office?
Oh my God, yes.
Tell me.
By popular demand.
Popular demand.
Seriously, we've done a lot of research literally over the last year trying to decide when it was time to bring technology into the clinic, because there's so many things to do. And I'm sure everybody sees this, social media has everything. We're going to be bringing in a machine called the Everest, and it's a skin tightening treatment. And the results are unbelievable. They're amazing. And it's really just collagen stimulation to restructure, just kind of lift. But that can be, when your eyes are like, the amount of times that I get when like my eyes are like, they're doing this, like I just want to, so this lifting, like the lines.
It's not invasive.
It's not invasive. It doesn't hurt. It's like 20 minutes and you're getting collagen stimulation. There's literally no downtime. You can go out and live your life. You might have a bit of rosiness in your cheeks for a little bit and then off you go.
Wow.
Which is where the world is going. Injectables aren't necessarily for everybody.
No,
and
true.
that's not what people want. People don't necessarily want to be poked with needles.
Yeah.
This is a treatment that, it's gliding over your skin. You go on with your life and you don't have to think about it. And you're not necessarily worried that you're going to look distorted because it's just your own collagen. It's a more natural approach. And of course, post-weight loss, when you have some skin laxity that happens, maybe not necessarily inevitably, there's a way that you can sort of reduce that, but there's a lot of people that are on these medications that don't necessarily do it through our clinic. So, being able to tighten the stomach, the arms, the thighs, and just to kind of like refirm naturally.
Ooh, I'm excited.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Okay. On the end here, each of you give me one or a viewer's piece of advice you would offer to women struggling with hormones and weight loss.
As far as advice, you know what, I think the one thing I just want to say, because we have women come in a lot, almost feeling the need to justify, like to prove, like I am trying, and they think we're not going to believe them.
I felt that too, actually.
Yeah. Like you're going to come in and that we're going to be watching me and like, yeah, but your blood work and that like we can see that you're not saying the truth. It's not the thought that goes at all. And I think, you know, finding the right provider that's going to listen and believe you is huge. And we believe, because it's not from lack of trying. I love that social media is getting louder with this. Maybe obviously it's our feed because it's what we're in all the time, but it is getting louder. Women are hearing more. For example, you're saying the more I learn about something, like I just want to nosedive into it. The information is there. Sometimes you got to see somebody who maybe knows a little bit more to kind of curate what's actually real, what isn't. But you know, a lot of the time the information's there. So just don't be afraid to question, and don't be afraid to be like, well, that's not what I heard, and tell, because then now it's our job to make sure that we're up to date, you know, that we're not actually giving you, you know, advice from 5 years ago that's not relevant anymore, right? So
I love that.
Do your research and come ask questions, because that's the way to do it.
Okay. And Jenny?
Really quickly, I would say for women with hormonal changes and suspicions, I would say, I hear you, I see you, you're not going crazy, it's real, it can be debilitating, but there's help.
That's my God, I love it. And I love that I know you guys, because I just feel like I can just ask you all the questions. This is the best thing ever. Thank you so much for joining me today on the show. We'll post all the contact information below. I have said before, advocate for women all the time. If you are on the fence about maybe talking to a nurse practitioner, talking about weight loss and hormones, I suggest going to Fonthealth. It's such a diverse clinic, and these ladies are wonderful, and they have a wonderful staff. I'm going to end with this quote today. Decide what kind of life you really want, and then say no to everything that isn't that. So thank you so much for joining me, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Woo!